Imagine stepping onto the court every day with the world watching, waiting to see if you'll rise or if you'll fall short. That's life for Bronny James. As the son of NBA legend LeBron James, Bronny isn't just playing basketball. He's playing against expectation, criticism, and the weight of a legacy that only a handful could even dream of carrying. Today we're diving into the burning question that has fans and critics divided. How bad was Bronny James really? From the early days of his childhood to his most talked about performances, we'll break down the highs, the lows, and the moments that have defined his young career so far. Bronny's journey is one of talent, struggle, and maybe even greatness. But as we unravel his story, we're left to wonder, has he earned his place, or is he just following in the shadow of his father's legacy? Let's find out. Bronny James's journey didn't begin with a typical childhood. Growing up as the son of LeBron James, Bronny was immersed in the world of basketball before he even knew what it meant to dribble. From an early age, his path seemed set, but it was a path lined with pressures most young players never face. Even as a kid, Bronny showed glimpses of raw talent. He played with a natural poise, surprising for his age, and by the time he hit middle school, his skills were becoming impossible to ignore. Coaches and teammates quickly noticed something different about him. He had a calm, yet fierce determination on the court, a quiet confidence that stood out even among older players. And it wasn't just that he could shoot, dribble, or pass. It was the way he did it. He had a court vision that was mature beyond his years, making plays that hinted at the influence of one of the game's greatest players. Bronny's early years weren't just about his growth as a player, they were also about finding his identity. With his father's legacy casting a long shadow, Bronny faced the delicate balance of respecting that legacy while trying to carve out his own. Under the mentorship of his father and legendary coaches, he learned not only how to handle a basketball, but also how to handle the pressure, the comparisons, and the endless media attention. And as he stepped onto high school courts, the hype was real, the expectations were sky high, and the world waited to see if Bronny James could live up to his name. But could he ever be more than LeBron's son? The answer to that question would begin to unfold as Bronny entered high school, where he would start proving, or disproving, the legacy that came with the James name. As Bronny's high school career took off, his performances began drawing national attention. Playing for Sierra Canyon, a powerhouse school that frequently made headlines, Bronny was now showcasing his skills on some of the biggest stages in high school basketball. Fans packed the stands, not just to see a James, but to see if Bronny could match the hype. One unforgettable game left no doubt about his potential. With just seconds on the clock, Bronny took the ball, the weight of his team's chances in his hands, and nailed the game-winning shot. It was the kind of moment that made everyone take notice, sparking viral clips and discussions nationwide. Scouts, coaches, and analysts started talking about his natural basketball IQ, his poise under pressure, and his ability to step up when it mattered most. Even basketball legends had something to say. He has a sense of the court that's rare for his age, one respected scout observed, comparing Bronny's vision and calm on the court to seasoned NBA veterans. People began to see that Bronny wasn't just another high school phenom, he was showing signs of a player with a promising future. These moments became defining highlights in his young career, turning Bronny into one of the most followed high school players in the country. But even as he hit these peaks, questions continued to loom over him. Was this consistent greatness or just flashes of brilliance? Just as Bronny was beginning to make his mark, he faced one of the toughest setbacks an athlete can endure. In 2023, an unexpected health scare sent shockwaves through the sports world. For a young athlete under a microscope, it was more than just a physical injury. It was a brutal reminder of how fragile even the brightest futures can be. The health incident raised concerns about whether he could continue playing at the high level expected of him. For Bronny, the pressure to recover quickly was intense. His father's career had been defined by an almost superhuman resilience, but Bronny's path now came with new uncertainties. This was a turning point, not only physically but mentally, as he had to confront questions of his own durability and limits. Through rehab and recovery, he showed the same grit that had made him stand out in high school. For fans, his perseverance became a testament to his commitment to the game. He wasn't just LeBron's son working through an injury, he was a young player fighting for his chance to fulfill his own potential. But with every step forward, Bronny knew he was walking a fine line. Could he return stronger and silence the critics, or would this setback cast doubt on his future? It was a question that hung heavily in the air as he prepared for the next chapter of his career. As Bronny's high school years came to a close, the basketball world buzzed with speculation about his future. Would he follow in his father's footsteps to the NBA, or would he blaze his own trail? For years, fans had anticipated the moment when a James might once again enter the draft, but questions still remained. Was Bronny truly ready for the next level, or was the hype overshadowing the reality? Opportunities to showcase his skills on an even larger scale were limited by injuries and the immense expectations surrounding him. Scouts who'd followed him from high school had mixed opinions, with some praising his vision and basketball IQ, while others questioned if he could thrive in the NBA's high-stakes environment. Despite these doubts, Bronny's potential remained undeniable. The possibility of joining his father on an NBA roster had people talking endlessly. LeBron himself had said, "My biggest dream is to share the court with my son," a statement that only fueled speculation about which team might take a chance on Bronny. But even with the support of a legend, Bronny knew that in the end, he'd have to prove his own worth. His journey to the NBA wouldn't be handed to him. He'd have to fight for it every step of the way. And so, as he inches closer to the big leagues, the question lingers. Can Bronny James carve out his own legacy in the NBA, or will he always be overshadowed by the weight of his last name? The next chapter of his story is waiting, but it's a chapter only Bronny can write. With every game and every challenge, Bronny James has been writing his own story, one that's still unfolding. His path so far has shown resilience, skill, and the kind of mental toughness that makes fans wonder just how far he'll go. But as he stands on the brink of his NBA career, it's clear that his legacy will be defined by more than just his last name. Bronny's journey isn't just about stats and highlights. It's about the relentless drive to prove himself, the determination to step out of his father's shadow, and the courage to face down critics who have watched his every move since childhood. He's taken every setback in stride, showing fans that he's willing to work, fight, and evolve as a player. For many, Bronny's career has already left an impact. His story represents a new generation of players who grew up under the watchful eyes of social media, facing pressure like never before. Fans see him not just as LeBron's son, but as a symbol of today's basketball world, one of constant scrutiny, but also of endless opportunity. And as Bronny looks ahead, he's more than just a promising young player. He's a story of resilience, of legacy, and of what it means to find your place in a world that's always watching. Whether he becomes an NBA superstar or simply a player who left his mark, Bronny's legacy is already beginning to take shape, and it's one that fans will remember for years to come. Bronny James's story is far from over, and for basketball fans around the world, it's one they'll be following closely. From his early years on the court to the moments of triumph and setbacks, Bronny has shown that he's more than just a famous name. He's a young player determined to forge his own path, despite the weight of expectations that few could carry. But what do you think? Will Bronny go on to become an NBA star, a player who surpasses all doubts and earns his place in basketball history? Or will his journey ultimately be defined by the shadow of his father's legacy? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you're interested in more stories about rising stars, legendary players, and basketball's biggest, don't forget to check out our next video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.